Yeah. Okay. Right. Fair enough. I wasn't actually reading anything, I was just looking at the pictures. So if that intro's proven anything, that your Moses or Prince of Steel doesn't have an idea for the video this week again. Yay! So I thought, what better to do than to follow up from the previous video last week, which was on how to display a collection of fossils, or if you're starting out displaying a collection of fossils, what to do. And how about we go through some starter fossils, some fossils that I've handpicked that I think could actually be really good for any upstart or newcomer to the fossil collecting world. And these are my recommendations, so let's go through them. Hey! So to clarify, this video is more along the lines of fossils that you can buy from the internet or from fossil shows if you're not able to go out fossil hunting yourself for these particular fossils. But first bit of advice in this video is always think about what kind of fossils you want to collect. Do you want to collect a range of fossils from across all ages, all locations across the world, or would you like to collect fossils from particular locations? If you have that sort of mindset of what you want, you'll be happy. So, for example, I would recommend, if you want to look in a particular place for particular fossils, get a book like this one on the fossils of the Whitby coast and have a good read through it, have a good look at some images, look at some scientific papers, look at other journals, look at Facebook and Instagram, look at pictures of fossils that people have already found, get an idea of what kind of fossils you want to look for and particular fossils you want to identify, particular species, because there are occasions where multiple species are given the same genus name and a lot of people have mistaken a Hildoceras for Dactylosauris, and that is not good. So, as you can see, I've seated myself down on the floor for a serious talk about fossils with you. So let's get into our first fossil. And, of course, because I am Tethysaurus Yorkshire, it's an ammonite from Yorkshire. Now, more or less, this is actually representing that ammonites are a crucial fossil, and really the first fossil that a lot of people go out and buy. My recommendation is to pick up either a Yorkshire fossil or a Lyme Regis fossil of an ammonite, because those are amazing, absolutely amazing. My personal pick, if I was starting off with a new collection and I wanted ammonite, I would go with the Yorkshire ammonite, and particularly I'd go with this species, Dactylosauris tenicostatum. In fact, this is one that I collected and prepared myself from Brunswick Bay. Dactylosauris tenicostatum, or Orthodictylites tenicostatum, the subgenus, if you like, but we'll not get into that. That's a bit of sub-whiz video. I haven't done one of them in a long time. I should do one of them. Now, of course, you could also get maybe another species of Dactylosauris. So you could get Dactylosauris commune, this one. But I prefer tenicostatum. I think it's a nicer looking Dactylosauris species. Aren't you, boy? Moving on. And of course, an ammonite is not an ammonite without being cut in half. So I'd recommend actually getting a cut section of ammonite to compare with your actual ammonite, so you can see the external and the internal anatomy. Up next, we have another group of cephalopods. We have the belemnites. Look at that, beautiful, lovely and shiny that. But yeah, belemnites are a very common fossil. They're common across the world, and they are really easy to get hold of, really cheap, and they're just nice looking fossils because they look like bullets. And yes, I would recommend getting a more complete one. This one is just the guard. There's no fragment cone anatomy to that. If you want to look at any anatomy videos on belemnites, please check out the one that I did several months ago. I've done maybe a few discussions about belemnites, but belemnites really are another quintessential fossil. If you don't actually know about how important they are to modern history, please check out work by Yuri Harold. Amazing stuff. But this particular fossil, this group of fossils, again, really quintessential, really easy to display. They're nice and thin, very simple fossils, but again, really cool. And just like with the ammonites, get a piece that's got some nice internal anatomy. You can see all the chambers with this one in the fragment cone, absolutely gorgeous. I forget where this one's from, but yeah, Whitby one, again, the previous one that I showed you was actually from Germany, but this is a Whitby one, absolutely gorgeous. So another group of quintessential fossils are probably oysters, and in particular we've got some more Yorkshire ones. So this one is Pleuramia, I believe this one. Are you Pleuramia? You are Pleuramia. Well, you are pretty. You are very pretty. And yeah, so you want to get yourself an oyster fossil that is pretty much complete and has some beautiful external anatomy to it. You can see the lovely ribbing on this one. Absolutely gorgeous. This is again one that I collected from Brunswick Bay. Beautiful piece. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, my quintessential favourite oyster, or bivalve as they're more technically known, is this fella. It's Gryphea. So Gryphea basically looks like a toilet seat almost, or a bit of a bathtub, but very, very famous, known as the devil's toenail, from Whitby particularly, but these are found all across the world. There's several different species. The UK species are probably the most famous, and they're just really aesthetically nice. I mean, you see a lot of these particular fossils worn out, worn down. If you can get your hands on that, fair enough, but make sure you get it for cheap. If you want something like this, you might have to pay a bit more. Now for this one, I actually bought this from a fossil show a couple of years ago. This one cost me £10, which is not too bad. Now, some of my mates would actually say, 10 quid for a Gryphea? Have you seen that? A Gryphea? And I go, yes, £10 for a Gryphea. It's a good looking fossil. Shut up. So we're going to move from the sea to the land, and we're going to go with some people would say not the most exciting fossils, but then again, if you don't think of a fossil as exciting, go away. Plant fossils. Now, plant fossils, easy to find, easy to buy. This one's a Carboniferous one from Germany, as you can see by the tag on the back there. Now, why plant fossils? Well, again, plants have been around for millions of years, and in fact, plant fossils can be some of the most aesthetically pleasing fossils to look at in a fossil display. So get yourself a nice fossil like this one, which is a little fern, and that is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. That is beautiful. We're diving back into the sea, this one, or back into the water if you like. This one is a fish fossil. Now, this one is a Brazilian fish fossil. Brazilian fish fossils, they are accessible but less common. My advice is to get a Green River Formation fossil. They are absolutely fantastic. They're from the Eocene, they are absolutely beautiful, and they come out in the same preservation like this, because fish fossils, like the plant fossils, are very aesthetically pleasing and very easy to get a hold of. You can even get fish fossils from Lyme Regis. Some of those fish fossils are absolutely gorgeous. You know them, you love them, you do-do-do-do-do-do-do-them. Sharks. Now, you can get either a range of phosphate shark material from Morocco. You can get bulks of these, kilograms of these. You can get loads of teeth like this Creta lamna shark tooth. These are absolutely fantastic, and when complete, they are actually really nice, really cheap, fantastic pieces. Or if you want, you could spend a bit more money and get a Big Daddy. And when I say Big Daddy, I mean the Big Daddy himself, Megalodon. Now, this isn't a complete tooth. This is a tooth I actually got from Java, and yeah, Megalodon is a quintessential fossil, a very quintessential fossil. Now, my advice is, if you can't get a full tooth, get a fragment of a tooth. Fragments of teeth are pretty reasonable prices. I've seen some from around 10, 20, 30, maybe even £40. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And if you can get one with the serrations on, like you can see with mine, even better, because Megalodon is an absolutely awesome creature. Still sticking in the water, we're going to stick with things that are probably cooler than Megalodon in my opinion, and if you're a Megalodon fan, a boo-hoo. But we have an ichthyosaur vertebra, if I hold it the right way up, and we have a piece of marine reptile slice bone that's been polished, because these two pieces are absolutely fantastic. First of all, ichthyosaurs are very iconic. They're vertebrae, very common, very easy to get a hold of. I got this one for about £10. Again, really nice preservation on it, really nice and intact. And we have a piece of reptile bone. It gives you an idea of the anatomy and what makes these animals distinct, and again, looks really nice on the display shelf. Now, you can't have a prehistoric shelf without one of the most iconic prehistoric animals of all time, and that is a piece of mammoth. Now, this is a slice of mammoth tooth with several lamellae, which is the word for them. But mammoth tooth, fragments of these are very easy to get hold of, particularly on eBay, particularly fossil shows. Really nice, really cheap, really easy. And if you don't have a piece of mammoth in your collection, what are you doing? Now, as much as this pains me, I have to make my boys second to last, and that is mosasaurs. Now, first of all, you can get small mosasaur teeth, like this Mosasaurus bugei tooth, from a range of different fossils. They range from about £5, £10, £15. If you want a nicer mosasaur fossil, I'd go up to £20 odd pounds, which can get you teeth like this. This is Velocititan. And even if you've got some extra change, a nice little Velocititan tooth, a mosasaur tooth with a root. Always good to get your hands on these. Now for the finale and the number one fossil that probably will make your collection boom, and that is dinosaur fossils. Now for the dinosaurs, I'm picking three particular very famous dinosaurs from particularly Africa and North America. Now, the sole North American dinosaur that I highly recommend you get a piece of is the man himself, Triceratops. Now, this is a nice piece of Triceratops frill that I bought a couple of years ago from the Yorkshire Fossil Festival, and this cost me about £20, and this is a really nice piece because you can see all the veins on it. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous, and you can see the internal anatomy of the bone. Very nice. Now, Triceratops pieces, you see them on, again, fossil shows, you see them on eBay, you see them on all sorts of places. Really good prices and very common. And to be honest, if you get a really nice piece like this one, you can see a lot of the external anatomy of the vessels and the frill itself, really cool. Really cool piece. Now, the other two are from Morocco. Now, when I say Morocco, you're going to think of two particular dinosaurs from Morocco. And let's get the first one, the most obvious one, out of the way. Spinosaurus. Now, Spinosaurus teeth, again, very common on the market. Now, you could argue that the Moroccan stuff might not be Spinosaurus, but we're not going to argue semantics. We're going to argue about what fossils to put in your collection as a starter. And Spinosaurus is absolutely one of them. It's one of the most iconic dinosaurs, and the teeth are quite actually easy to get hold of. Now, some sellers do put them up really ridiculous prices sometimes, so I recommend going for a price range between about £20 to £50 for a Spinosaurus tooth. If you can try and get one at the lower end, great, do that. I mean, I managed to get this one for about £10 when I was out there in Morocco, and yeah, really nice piece. If you can get a complete one, brilliant. If you get one with roots, you're gonna need to sell a lung at least for that. The final fossil that I want to talk about as a starter, this is probably one of the more expensive fossils, definitely more expensive than the Spinosaurus ones, but if you put the time and the effort to saving this one as a key starter fossil, you'll not regret it. And that is the tooth of Carcharodontosaurus saharicus. Again, this is from Morocco. This is a nice example. This is probably one of my finer examples because you can actually see the serrations on it if the camera will focus, but unfortunately it won't. Now, these can range from very high. Some of them can be up to 200, maybe 300, 400 pounds. But that is for some of the larger examples. If you can get a smaller example like this one, I mean, I managed to get this one for a decent price, but my best advice would be less than £100 for a Carcharodontosaurus tooth. But if you do get one, honestly, they are absolutely fantastic. The enamel on them, the serrations on them, the preservation, absolutely gorgeous. And you have the tooth of one of the largest carnivorous dinosaurs to ever exist, alongside your Spinosaurus, but I like my Carcharodontosaurus more. Anyways, guys, I hope this video has been very helpful, very informative, and has given you a direction in what you could do for starting up a fossil collection. Please let me know. Please send me some photos of you starting up fossil collections, and if you're adding to your collection, send me some videos and photos of that. That would be great to look at. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you have a good day, and see you later. Ta-da. Bye.